How many of you are trying to change people who don't want to engage at all? They don't want to hear anything that you want to say. How many are dealing with people like that? Great. How many of you are dealing with people that are at least thinking about change, even if they don't change? They're at least thinking about it. All right. And how many of you are dealing with people that are just ready to do the right thing? Wow, you were very lucky. First, I know we have a short amount of time, so if I say something you already know, because you may already know some things that I'll be saying, feel free to give me this hand signal and tell me if I'm going at a snail's pace. I won't be offended. It just helps so that I'll have more time at the end to learn from you or hear your questions. And how many of you think telling people why and how to do the right thing actually changes their behavior? Show of hands. I have one person believes in that. Okay, so I was one of those people. I was really idealistic, and I thought that too. I thought that for 4 years, and I learned the hard way. It does not significantly change behavior. And for 4 years, I sent invitations from the mayor to come to my Buy Green ordinance meetings. And for 4 years, only 6 departments attended, and 0 departments nominated their Buy Green leaders. And in 1 year, we were able to get 600 new staff from 38 departments to come to my meetings, and 38 departments chose Buy Green leaders. So more importantly, 90% of 150 staff would recommend our consultation. So what's more important than just who showed up is actually who stayed awake and who actually liked anything I had to say. And so now I'm happy to share with you how you might also get good results. So since most of us don't like to hear things like, we need to talk, or come to a training or presentation, I change that around and I say, come to a consultation or a scavenger hunt. You can bring prohibited products you're ready to replace with green products. How many of you watch hoarding shows? Shows about people that just can't help but hoard things. Okay, so you know that when you go into someone's storeroom or their house and you just take things away from them to help them, it actually makes them want to hoard even more. So instead of going into our city staff's storerooms, I ask them to bring prohibited products that they're ready to give up. And also, I invite them by saying, get a prize or share solutions. I also include testimonials in my invites. This is really important because a lot of times people don't want to come to my meetings because, like this woman thought, she said that she was afraid it would be a waste of time, like many of her colleagues. But she says that she actually did learn some good things, and that these efforts can actually save resources and jobs, and it's simply silly to be wasteful. So if you can get anyone to write reviews about your meetings, just send them in your invitations. It can actually bring more people to your meetings. And I didn't pay her to say this. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to give you kind of a taste of what a 1-hour consultation that I usually have with some of our 28,000 city staff. And if you have questions, we can talk after. So when I first show up, I like to tell whoever I'm meeting something that I like about them. How many of you recognize this restaurant down the street? It's called Sweet Home Cafe, hot pot restaurant. How many of you have been there? Okay, so as you know, they serve hot pot soup, and they bring everything out covered in plastic wrap, as you can see on the table. And since I'm really obsessive compulsive, I can't really I'm not exactly a hoarder, but I can't really throw anything away. So I negotiated with the wait staff that watch you like hawks. They're just ready to take your ramp away because they just want to have a comfortable environment for you. But I was negotiating with them, and I'm trying to convince them that I'm not crazy. I'm just trying to take this cling wrap back with me to California to recycle it, because we can actually do that outside most of our grocery stores. And so about 2:30 in the morning, this morning, I was looking up how you might be able to do that here instead of, you could also give your wrap to me and I will actually bring it back to California. The closest thing I could find is that you can recycle plastic bags at any of these places. How many of you knew that? It was really hard to find this information, but I was happy to find it. And so I tell that story because I want to share with my audiences that lots of people are going green, or at least our better half is. Therapists are reporting an increase in bickering between couples over how to go green. Any of you guilty of this other than me? All right. So then I talk about how other people do the right thing because we tend to imitate other people, whether we like to admit it or not. Every time I meet with anyone, I like to get a sense of who's in the room. So I'd like to find out, how green are you? Is anyone here like Cody? Cody prefers the way coffee tastes when it's in styrofoam. Anyone here like Cody? No one ever admits they're a Cody. Anyone like Gordon? He recycles just to avoid scrutiny from his partner, Shelley. Any Gordons? Admit it. I usually get a few people. All right. Anyone here like Shelley? She gets depressed that Gordon is so materialistic, and she wants to buy less. Anyone here like Shelley's? I hope I get some Shelley's. Okay. And so the rest of you that didn't raise your hand, I am assuming that you are all like the head of Greenpeace, Kumi. How many of you read The Onion? Okay, so it's all tongue-in-cheek, but he has been accused by The Onion of being accused by whales of preventing them from experiencing the sweet release of death. But I share that because I like to know who's in the room, because it's more rewarding and efficient to work with people that are most excited to do the right thing. And I also learned to ask what my audience really wants, because this is what they look like when I told them what to do. And so when I meet with gardeners, when I meet with them to talk about safer pest control, they don't want to hear any of it. They'd rather talk about getting dogs to clean up after themselves. And so I actually do take the time to brainstorm with them, because only when I do that and show that I really care and do want to help them will they listen to me talk about less toxic, safer pest management. So when I do get to talk about it, I talk about how bay-friendly landscaping. I really was talking about this for years with them, and I see their eyes glaze over. And it wasn't until I changed my tune and said that this can actually boost their resume, it can actually help them be their own boss, and get people like me to leave them alone and out of their hair. I replace boring sign-in sheets with voting ballots that we fill out together to rate green products or my talk, and vote on easier ways to buy green. And there's a lot of different techniques when I meet with people, but this is one of them. Can any of you guess which ad attracted more people? One, inviting people to hang out with other smokers who do not want to quit, or one that says smoking reduces weight, one lung at a time. Which one? Hanging out or reducing weight? Hanging out, show of hands. Reducing weight, one lung at a time. Hanging out with other smokers who don't want to quit actually brought in twice as many people who didn't want to take any action. And the other ad, they got less graduates, even though they showed them the horrors of smoking and the glories of quitting and pressured people to take action. And maybe we respond well to health messages, and this would cause us to quit smoking, knowing that we would lose one lung at a time. But the rest of the world, they just want to hang out with other smokers who don't want to quit. So I think it's really important for us to remember that not everyone that we talk to is like us. And so for people that wouldn't be caught dead being green, I have a colleague that says, don't even say something is green. Just tell them their friend said this green product works, or that this organic tomato tastes good or tastes better. And I find that this actually does work with some people. Now I'm going to share with you tips to engage people that are in any of these three stages of change. When we deal with any kind of change at all, it's not just about being green, we all go through these stages. Maybe the first stage is the one where we're in total denial, we don't want to hear it, we don't want to engage, and then I'll move on to the next stages. So to see who's in the first stage of change, I ask, do you even want to change the situation? Or do you just want other people to change? And this is really key, because if I'm dealing with someone in this stage of change, then I can say, even if you don't want to change, would you rather support people that create a better place or those that don't? And when do you get tempted? It's not about thinking about being green all the time, but just when you're about to be triggered to do the wrong thing. Is it when you're exposed to certain people, like sales calls from people that want you to buy the bad stuff, or other places or things? And also, it's really helpful to ask, when did you do the right thing? Maybe you recycled just once. How did it feel? And this is really important to kind of help people think positively about when they did something right. Not just about, when they did the wrong thing and why they did the wrong thing, but when did they actually do the right thing? And this is a great tip from your local marriage and family therapist here right in town.